presidential transitions of power can be awkward. And this time is no different. President-elect Donald Trump doesn't think much of Joe Biden's foreign policy record. He frequently casts the outgoing Democratic president as a feckless leader who shredded American credibility around the world in his 4-year term. But a funny thing has happened on Trump's way back to the White House. The two leaders' national security teams have come to an understanding that they have no choice but to work together as conflicts in Gaza, Syria and Ukraine has left a significant swath of the world on a knife's edge. It's fuzzy how much common ground Biden and Trump's teams have found as they negotiate the trio of volatile foreign policy crises, each that threaten to cause even more upheaval just as Trump is settling back into the White House. But amid the hectoring of Biden, Trump team officials acknowledge that the Biden White House has worked diligently to keep the Trump team apprised and help ensure that there is a smooth handoff on national security matters.
This peaceful transfer of power is one of the hallmarks of a true democracy.
But President Bush's team could not have been more professional or more gracious in making sure we had a smooth transition.
You know, let's just watch this happen. It'll be over soon and we'll be ready for the transition.
President-elect and former President and Donald, congratulations.
The US may give B-61 nuclear bombs to Poland or Ukraine in response to Russia's use of the Oreshnik missile. The national interest tabloid published information. The idea that the West would allow nuclear weapons to be deployed in Ukraine, which is not a NATO member, is essentially insane. Unfortunately, given how the war in Ukraine is developing, this cannot be ruled out. The United States has very powerful nuclear weapons that could be given to the Poles or Ukrainians, but B-61 nuclear bombs are probably the best option, the publication said. Warsaw said it was open to making their US-made F-35 Lightning II warplane fleet capable of carrying American-made B-61 nuclear bombs. More recently, in the wake of NATO's decision to allow Ukraine's military to fire American long-range ATACMS and British Storm Shadow missiles into Russia, the Russian military retaliated by firing its impressive Oreshnik hypersonic weapon at the city of Dnipro. The West has no active defense against that weapon, which is nuclear capable or anything that is comparable in its arsenal. Thus, when conversations about possible escalations with Russia occur, inevitably the nuclear canard comes up, the national interest said. With the recent use of Oreshnik hypersonic weapon and the Kremlin's subsequent declaration that Russia is moving a tranche of these devastating weapons into Belarus, Poland is again feeling the proverbial squeeze. And it isn't only NATO members, such as Poland, that are trying to get in on the nuclear escalation talk against Russia. The Ukrainians sound obsessed with the prospect of gaining nuclear weapons from the West. The B-61 has been a pivotal player in NATO defense policy for decades. B-61s have been stationed in Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands and Turkey over the years. It can also be fired from the B-2 Spirit long-range nuclear stealth bomber, the F-15E and, as mentioned above, the F-35. The B-61 has been referred to as a dial-a-yield because the severity of the explosion it creates can be adjusted from 0.3 kilotons to as high as 360 kilotons. These weapons can withstand supersonic flight and possesses earth-penetrating abilities for blasting through hardened structures. Multiple modifications have been created to make the B-61 one of NATO's best doomsday weapons. Russian ruler Vladimir Putin said that the appearance of the Oreshnik missile system in service with the Russian army minimizes the need to use nuclear weapons. By and large, we now need to develop Oreshnik rather than the nuclear doctrine because a sufficient number of these sophisticated systems put us on the verge of virtually eliminating the necessity to employ nuclear weapons, he said. The head of the Kremlin said that Russia does not strengthen the nuclear doctrine but improves it.